United States has provided over the course of some time now, I guess, $400 billion, I believe this is correct, $400 million, sorry, billion would be a lot, $400 million in security assistance that we've committed to Ukraine this year as a part of our efforts to support their sovereignty and territorial integrity. And that includes $60 million of security assistance that we announced during the president's visit in September, which we're still providing, we're still delivering to the Ukrainians.
So more of the same from the Biden administration, but the president, after that call with Zelensky, had a phone call with the group called the Bucharest Nine. Those are 9 nations that are a part of NATO that are on the eastern flank near the borders of Ukraine and Russia. So they discussed the phone calls that President Biden had, not only with President Putin, but with President Zelensky. And there's also a group of 22 members in Congress in both parties that are actually telling the Biden administration to sanction the Nord Stream 2 pipeline as a way to deter Russia. So right now, it seems that economic sanctions, they are completely on the table. But in terms of military action, not so much from the Biden administration. Looks like that won't happen if push comes to shove. Back to you.
Wow. Thanks, Logan. Appreciate your reporting. Well, let's bring in House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy now. Leader McCarthy, welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me back on. I appreciate it.
You bet. So, Mr. Leader, President Biden made it very clear that he's not going to put U.S. troops on the border in conflict here. What message are we sending to Russia, and do you think that they are taking it seriously?
I'm not sure if they're taking it seriously or not, but why doesn't he treat Putin the way he treats American energy workers? Deny him the pipeline at least. When you understand Putin, Putin only looks at the world in black and white. He only understands strength and weaknesses. When Putin talked about why did he take Crimea, because no one told him he could not. He's built up more than 100,000 troops along the border. I believe the only reason he's done this is because the failure of what President Biden and the way he handled Afghanistan, leaving Americans behind, the weakness that he'd shown. That President Biden picked the date based upon what the Taliban told him to do. That weakness probably drove Putin to build troops along the border about Ukraine. But this is one time that we should speak as one voice to send a very clear message to Putin that it is wrong for him to invade.
Leader McCarthy, during all this, Biden is focusing on his democracy summit where he's hosting 100 different countries. But it seemed like today he was pushing his own left-wing voting agenda and his Build Back Better plan. So he's using this international forum to talk about domestic policy. What do you think his goal was here?
Well, it wouldn't sound like he was talking about democracy. It'd be more a socialist meeting if he was building his Build Back Better plan. Look, there's not one American viewer that's watching this show right now that hasn't been negatively impacted by his policies. Your gasoline price is higher, Americans' borders are unsecure, you watch crime throughout our country, everything you look at is costing you more. This is what these policies have done, and our only way to fix America is to fire Pelosi. That's why I've put out and I've asked everybody to go to firepelosi.com, join with us, and we have a real opportunity here to stop this socialist movement within America.
So I want to get to that ad in a second that you've got out in your effort, but I do want to get in a discussion about this Build Back Better plan that President Biden's talking about. It's now estimated at over $4 trillion, and the Democrats and the media all claim it's wildly popular. But we're going to talk about this later in the show. There are things in there that are just no way the American people would buy into them. So what are you and Republicans doing to expose the waste and the radical policies that are part of Build Back Better?
Well, the first thing I did, I went to the floor to be able to break down this bill, and we ended up breaking a record, but that was not the intent. I took this magic minute, and I ended up speaking for 8 hours and 30-some minutes just talking about this bill. And what America needs to understand about it is, how are they going to pay for it? One is they're going to take more of your money, and how do they do that? They first of all hire 87,000 IRS agents. And they try to say, well, we're only going to go after the wealthy. No, what they determine wealthy to be, anyone who spends just roughly under $30 a day you are now the individual that they want to audit and come after. Look at your transactions. They force your financial institutions to show them. They watch it. They take away the work incentive, the purpose an individual has to go forward. They harm small business in the mechanism here as well. It gives China an advantage over us, because if you are an American-based company, you have an advantage if you domicile in another country now because of the tax provisions they have within this bill. And you know what they do when they talk about this Green New Deal? Where are they going to buy all this? Well, 90% of it's made in China. China is going to benefit from this, not American-made companies. And they harm us. They don't bring our gasoline price any lower. They're going to raise the gasoline price.
Yeah, a great point, Leader McCarthy. I do want to get to your ad, as we mentioned last question here, talking about firing Pelosi, taking back the majority in 2022, and Republicans are well positioned to do so, as you mentioned. But there has been some infighting that people are questioning if Republicans are ready to be in leadership because of it. Last week, I know that you reportedly told your members in a meeting not to attack each other, to get personal. If they have policy differences, talk to each other, stay focused on their differences. With Democrats, what was the response from that conversation?
I would tell you it was overwhelming inside the conference. They were excited to hear that. There is enough items going on that harming America when it comes to inflation, crime, the border, the wokeism, the movement of this presidency that we should focus upon. We might have a few differences, but there's more that unites us than that divides us. And I think the only time you see it different, it's just the passion what we have to make change in this country, to stop what the Democrats are doing. That drives more of the passion than anything else. But I'll tell you, our conference is 100% united, different than the Democratic conference. And the one thing I will tell you, we're all united around Fire Pelosi. That's why we ask people to go to firepelosi.com.
All right, so, Mr. Leader, before I let you go, let's just pretend for a second I'm a grassroots voter anywhere in the country, and I say you guys want to take back control. Give me the 30-second elevator pitch why Republicans should be in control. What's the agenda? Why vote Republican?
It's a great question. What are we going to do on the very first day? We're going to secure your border. What does that mean? The border is actually secure. That fentanyl that's increased by 300%. There's enough fentanyl in America today to kill everyone 7 times over. It also will protect you because it'll stop those who are on the terrorist watch list who are currently coming into America. We'll stop the rise of inflation. Why? Because it will stop this runaway spending. We'll curve back the IRS. That their focus should not be on auditing you. It should be on helping you. We'll make America energy independent. You'll see us back in the graces that we will lower the gasoline price, actually be selling our natural gas to our allies, not Russia, which our natural gas is 42% cleaner. We will not defund the police. We'll actually add money, make your streets safe. And more importantly, what we've already rolled out too is a parent's Bill of Rights. We believe different than the Democrats. We believe parents should have a say in their children's education, know what's being taught, know what's in the library, and also knowing what is happening from where you're spending your money. And if there is ever a violent situation inside that school, you should be notified as well.
Okay, there it is. That's the pitch. Leader McCarthy, thank you again for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Join with us. Let's make a difference.